Teamster Power 767 Reality Check with Jeff Schenfeld and Garfield Hooper.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Teamster Power Reality Check. Today's guest is Richard Hooker Jr., who is the Secretary Treasurer and Principal Officer of Local 623 in Philadelphia, and he's running for General President of the IBT. Richard, what's going on today?
Not much, same old, same old. Thank you guys for having me on the show again. And also want to thank you guys for the hospitality in Dallas. The members there are great, man. A lot of great conversations. A lot of people who are fearless. I'll say that. Yeah, I'll say
All right.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we just want to, Richard had a couple of things to say. Last week we talked about transforming the regional panels. And, he just had some things he wanted to say, and I'm going to hand it over. Richard, it's all you.
So last week, you guys had Brother Mike Mochley, who's the president of Teamsters Local 29, and he was talking about his experience in the regional panel, the AAPGC. And for people who do not know, the AAPGC is the Atlantic area. It has locals in North Carolina, South Carolina, Maryland, and Virginia. And Local 623 was in that panel for a very long time. Now, even though we have our own supplement at 623, for whatever reason, we were in the Atlantic area. And so when we got elected, I asked the question, I'm in Philadelphia, going all the way down to Asheville, North Carolina, is a problem, especially when you're not in that supplement. It's one thing to be in a supplement, then you have to do what you have to do. But if you're not, then I think there needs to be a change, or somebody needs to give an answer on why. So I asked that question, nobody had the answer. And so at 623, we have a motto: if you don't want to give us the answer, then we're going to make our own answer. And so what we did was we negotiated our own panel. But here's the reason why we did that, because there was a whole lot of rigmarole. Oh man, you're making us look bad, and it looked like the panel was not doing what it's supposed to do. And I know Mike was talking about some issues that are there, and there is a lot of politics in the panel, and it isn't talked about like it used to be. Especially from TDU, it used to always be, oh man, if the panel doesn't like you or like your local, then you're going to have a hard time. And I think Mike is starting to see that, especially now that he is a declared candidate in this IBT election. And so my experience has been similar, but there's one particular that really drove me away from the AAPGC. And there was a brother there. He was a business agent from 509. His name is Carlos McFadden. He's no longer with them. Great brother. When you're talking about an advocate for workers and his members, he's a guy that you want on your team. And I know the people and the members at 509, the members, were very, very proud of him because he fought like nobody's business. At this particular time, this particular panel, he was putting on a case, and he was giving it to the company. I mean, he was going up one side, coming down the other. He was doing his job for his members. And the company's chairman, they call an executive session. Now, for all of those who don't know what executive session is in the panel, that's where on the panel, one of the panel chairs calls this procedure where he kicks everybody out of the room, and then just the panel is in there talking about the issue. So again, Carlos was giving it to him. I mean, he was giving it to him, fighting for his workers. The company side didn't like it. Called the executive session, kicked everybody out. As we were going outside, the panel chairman at the time was a brother named by the name of Johnny Sawyer. People who don't know Johnny Sawyer is the package division. I believe he's the director or chairman. I don't know his official title, but I know he's the top guy at the package division. He comes out and starts chastising Carlos. And I'm like, what is happening? The Carlos is doing his job, fighting for his members. The company doesn't like it, so you chastise the business agent. And I'm looking around at my guys. I'm like, man, is this really happening? That's just one part. So we go back in there. Carlos, he starts it back up again. I mean, he's really going in, defending his members, letting the company know that this is how it is. The company co-chair calls another executive session, kicks us back out. Guess what happens? Johnny Sawyer does it again to Carlos. At that point in time, I made up in my mind, dude, we got to get out of this panel. There is no way I'm going to come down here with my members' job and livelihood in their hand, and they doing stuff like this. There is no way. There is no way that's happening. And so I understand Mike's beef and what he's going through, and there's other folks who say the same thing about their panels, but specifically about the APGC. I understand why he feels the way he feels. I understand it. But when I saw that situation, I knew that we had to get out of that panel. So what I started doing was I started bringing our stewards down to the panel so they could see why we needed to get out and learn as well. They started saying certain things. Man, number one, we're not in the panel. We got our own supplement. And we got to drive 8-10 hours. We got to go to South Carolina. We got to go to North Carolina. We got to go to Virginia and all this other kind of stuff, spending the members' resources, right? And that's the other part that I don't like. You know, we're going all the way down here, spending resources. We're not even in your panel. One of my senior stewards saw something that really blew his mind. So we're getting ready to put on a case, and one of my stewards saw that they actually had to pass out another contract to the arbitrator and to the panelists because we don't have the same supplement. So they're not even in our supplement, whereas they don't have, I'm not going to say or I'm not saying that they couldn't understand the language, but it's a different story.
Yeah.
It's a different story if you're not living it, if you're not in it.
Yeah.
And so when my seniors, he said, hold on a minute, why are they passing out a brand new contract? I told him, because they're not in our supplement. This is not their language. They didn't negotiate this. And so my stewards they started to see why we needed to get out. But when I saw what happened to Brother Carlos from 509, I knew then and there we had to get out of that panel. And the panel system in general, the company has control of it. Let's just be straight up. They have control of the panel and the grievance procedure. I'm not going to say that my hands are not dirty in this, because when I first got elected, I thought the goal was just to get your members paid, get them back to work, do the grievance procedure. That's part of it. But we got to start moving away from this idea that the check is more important than having control over the grievance procedure. Because right now, UPS does whatever they want to do. You really can't file charges anymore because the NLRB is non-existent. And so we are in a bad situation, especially when it comes to the grievance procedure and these panels. So I feel for Brother Mike. I know what he's going through, and I know everybody got a story to tell about their regional panels. But that's my experience, and that's one of the things that we're going to have to fix when we get elected. And that's some ideas I want to talk about that moving forward. But things got to change. We don't have control of the grievance. I just saw the national panel docket, and there's cases on there from 2018, 2020. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's because the way it's structured. We don't have control over it, and the company knows that. And they do things like this to get our members upset with the local, get upset with their leadership, saying that they're not doing anything when I know locals who are actually doing the work, but they don't have control over the grievance procedure. And that is a big, big issue. It's one thing to get a check, and the company doesn't care. They'll pay you for supervisors working. They'll pay you 9-5. They'll pay you subcontracting. But guess what? Tomorrow, and the next day, in the next week, in the next month, they're going to do it again. Yeah. We don't have control because we did they will stop,
Yep.
but we don't have control, and that's
So
something that we got to fix.
so Richard, something that myself and we talk about, and you mentioned it. It's not about reform; it's about transforming, right?
Yeah, we got to transfer the whole procedure. It has to
Yep.
be.
Yep. Absolutely. It's gotta change. It has to, and there's no question. And then that's just your story that that happened to that business stage. That's just unreal, right? Like your own side, and in front of everyone, right? In front of everyone, like just like
Exactly.
if a
And,
if
and,
it
and and
was
I was,
yeah
yeah, I was thrown back because
yeah
I couldn't believe it. Because in my mind, again, when you're a shop steward, you don't really know what goes on that panel. You don't really get to see what happens. So by us just being newly elected, we go down there, and in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this brother is doing his job for his members at 509. This is what you want to see. But for the company, no, excuse me, for the union to be the one chastise him for doing what he was hired to do what his members want him to do, it speaks to the problem that we have in our organization. It's too political.
yep
And sometimes I believe that the company and the union are too friendly than than they should be. I'm not saying that you don't have to have a relationship because you do, but business is business. You're screwing
yep
over my members, and you know you're screwing them over, and I'm letting you know you're doing it. And then the union chastises him. And that's why members don't have faith in the union.
And I think that the
hmm
biggest problem here too is that these people are obviously way too secure in their positions if they
Yeah.
think that doing that is okay. Like they're not going to see any repercussions. Repercussions. I can see I can see chastising somebody if they were doing something wrong, or maybe even if they were, you know, I don't know, like because when I'm in a hearing with a member just in the building level, I could sit there and say, oh, you fucked up, but I'm never going to say that in front of management. I'll
exactly.
pull them
That's the point right
outside.
there.
I'll pull them
Yep.
outside and take a
Right.
caucus and be like, yeah, look, you
Right.
fucked up. But I'm not
That's
going to
it.
sit there
Right.
in front of the management and say that. Like, and
Right.
as far
No.
as I'm concerned, this is the same thing. Like, you don't pull somebody out and right there in front of management say, oh, no, and start chastising them. You are
Yeah.
way too comfortable in that position if you think that's okay. Like, there should be a reason, there should be a way for people to, those people to be held accountable, those panelists to be held accountable or removed if this is the attitude
Yeah.
they're going to take when it comes to representing our members.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I agree.
so you're right, exactly. And we had talked about last week about possibly like even elections or rotating the panel members,
Yeah.
elections for like the JC, but I'm just saying down for the panel members, just rotating them. But the thing is, so this has been going on before Sean O'Brien, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, this
he
is
gets in there
right.
and he has
This
an
is not a
opportunity
Sean
to change it.
O'Brien issue.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
This is the way the grievance panels have been working for a very, very long time. It's very, very political. If you if the members of the panel or that area don't like you, then you're going to suffer for that. Now there's some things that we've been talking about to fix that.
Yep.
And I know this is not the show to do it, and we'll talk about it on our town hall later on next month. But things need to change. It has to change because a member should not be disciplined from their own union because of politics. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't lose my job or get disciplined at the panel or lose a case because you don't like the agent or you don't like the officer or you don't like the fact that they don't go along with the get along. That goes on a whole lot and it shouldn't.
This has been going on before, but each president, each general president has had the opportunity to fix it, right? And they've done nothing. Sean got in there and he's just
Yeah,
perpetuating the same type of behavior. And that's the problem. Okay.
yeah,
And he said he was going to, reform. He put a new position, someone over it. But Nothing, right? It's the same old, and that's the problem. That's why it's got to be transformed. So,
It's like Garfield said earlier. A lot of these people are too comfortable in their position, so that's why they do those things. If I believe that nobody's going to either vote me out or stand up to me or whatever, or hold me accountable, then I'm going to continue to do these things, and that's what's happening.
yeah,
There's really no accountability for making those decisions at the panel. There isn't none.
no, no, there's none. So, okay, I'm glad you had some things to say, and I'm glad you got that. Just another horrible story of what
Yeah.
goes on at the panel, right?
Yeah, because
So
I watched the
it's
show, great show last week. Then Mike had did one on his podcast. He was talking about it. I said, you know what, man? Not too many people know that story, but I think it's relevant because of the way panels are going.
yeah,
And people need to know this is what happens. And we saw it firsthand when Johnny Sawyer came out and chastised Carlos, my heart dropped. I was like, man, what is happening? This is a perfect example. This is what an employer would do to their employee. These guys feel that we work for them and not the other way around. And
yep,
that's what it is.
Yeah, Jeff and I have had discussions about this before, and I don't know if it would take a bylaws change or something, but something that I would like to see. I don't know if it'd be at the local level or if it'd be something at the national level, but I would love to see locals mandated to have to go over panel decisions every month at the general membership meetings. Too many people don't know what goes on at the membership at the panels,
Right? You're
and
right.
like too many stewards like don't get the opportunity to experience that before they go move on to become BAs, if they even are stewards before they become BAs. It'd be a positive thing for locals to go out and talk about not only their decisions but like important decisions at the national level, and things
Yeah.
like at
Yeah.
every general membership meetings. Like if it's a new decision, there needs to be
Yep.
something said, and I think it would be. I think if nothing else, it would increase membership
participation
involvement.
maybe,
Awareness.
Yeah, an
Yeah.
awareness,
yeah,
Yeah.
involvement and awareness in the
everything,
locals.
all of
Yeah.
it. Yep,
Because if nothing else,
Right.
like the people want to know what's going on, and if they know that kind of stuff's
Yeah.
going to come up at general membership meetings, they'll be more likely to attend. That, and if you lose a case for some reason, like, you know what, it happens. Sometimes not all the cards
yep,
fall in your way. Sometimes you don't have all the evidence.
Yep.
Then locals would have the opportunity to talk to their members, to their stewards, to their members about gaining the proper evidence for something like
that's it.
that. And take it, instead of just being like, oh well, they lost, they're dumbasses. Been like, oh no, we lost, but here's how we can improve.
But here's why.
Yeah,
And that's what we do at our local.
yeah,
And when we have a panel, at our meetings, we tell our members, this is what happened. This is why happened, the wins and the losses.
yeah,
So they can understand because again, transparency is a big part of this. And it's also it allows for accountability for on both
yeah,
sides. On both sides. Right. And so I agree with that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and listen, the people who may be against what we're talking about, against making that, we can redact the names. Okay, we're
yeah,
not going to put people's names out there. So I mean, there's
Yeah.
nothing bad because even in losing, you could learn from that just as much as
You
winning. You
learn,
you
right.
could learn, and yeah, we're all a big proponent of that. We need to do that, and it'll make the stewards better from
100%.
from the first time that someone goes into the office. Wait a minute, maybe I could have done this better, right? And
Right. Right.
I mean, no, that's important. That's good. That's good, Garfield. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So moving on, we're going to talk about something that is affecting thousands and thousands of people across the country and thousands more. Automation. Okay.
Yeah.
Richard has some things he wants to talk about, and maybe ways with we can deal with automation. Okay, so Richard, you got the floor.
So we can go back and forth about what happened in negotiations with automation. We all heard in September of a couple of years ago at a rally in Sacramento of how our general president claimed that he stopped automation and all this stuff. That's one thing, right? how do we move forward from that? He said it. What do we do to fix it? So automation is not just going to affect UPS workers. It's going to affect the entire Teamsters organization. You're going to be losing revenue um, just because the jobs are not going to be there. The members are not going to be there. And so what happens when locals start to lose resources and revenues and their membership drops? Where there's a possibility that they could be merged because there's a lot of mergers happening currently. There's a few of them that happen, and whether it's because of resources or because of membership, it happened. But I do know when these things happen due to resources and not having membership, they merge. When you merge, you lose your autonomy. And that's the one thing that I don't like to see because this organization was built on the back of the locals, not the IBT or the leaders at the top. Locals are the power that gives the IBT its existence. And so if you look at your constitution, and I want everybody to look it up online, ask your principal office for a copy of it. When you look at the constitution, Article 10, Section 3, it deals with per capita. And so local unions are going to lose money, they're going to lose resources. But what if to combat or mitigate what automation is going to do, if we lower it to per capita to where so local unions could have more resources to help them stay afloat, maybe hire an organizer to help them go after leads to continue to do the work of the members. Because right now, I believe it's at 22, 23%. But if we dropped it between 15 and 17%, that would give our local unions the resources necessary to stay afloat, continue to do the work. That's going to be pivotal because automation is going to impact them. My local is going to be deeply impacted by automation, right? I already know it. So instead of crying about what O'Brien did or didn't do, we have a responsibility to go out and continue to push back on it, right?
Yep.
One of the
Yep.
things that we're going to need are resources. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, that's going to hurt the resources of the IBT. No, it's not. And I'm going to tell you why. The IBT has a ton of money. They got a ton of money. Go look at the LM2s. Go look at the LM2s and you will see that the IBT has plenty of money, right? So if we drop the per capita, local unions use that money, that resources to go out and get an organizer here part-time or full-time to help bring in more workers so they can stay afloat, more members, more dues, more resources. So the IBT is still going to have money. But what we don't want is for local unions to have to juggle, try to figure out this. And oh my God, are they going to merge me? Are they going to do this? We need to help out the local unions, especially UPS folks, locals that have the warehousing and things like that. They're going to be impacted, and so we need to look out for them. So what we're looking to do, again, Article 10, Section 3, Constitution talks about the per capita, things like that. If local unions only have to pay between 15 and 17% and not the 22 to 23%, it will greatly help them stay afloat, increase their resources so they can go out and do these things. Because automation is going to wear a lot of locals out. And we got to have a plan to fix it. We got to. And that's just part of the things that we plan on doing, myself, Jeff, and the rest of our slate, to help our local unions because they are going to be deeply impacted by a loss of revenue due to automation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just I just want to say something quick. So just want to get this straight for everyone, right? So you're saying you want to give more, you want the locals to keep more to put them in a better position, right? The IBT is good. They don't, that's less going to the IBT. You want to give back to the locals, right? You want to help make them stronger,
Absolutely.
right? Okay,
Absolutely.
so yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's a
because
good thing.
because
So
because the local unions have to be protected as much as possible. I mean, let's just be honest.
yep.
Um, the local unions are like a small corporation, and you need resources. Automation is going to impact those resources, right? And if they lose their ability to do so, then we weaken the IBT. We weaken the labor movement, and that's what we don't want. So, drop the per capita. The IBT still gonna get money. They're still gonna get their money, but the
Yeah.
local union will be able to keep more of their money to do more work for their members.
Yes.
And that's the key. Automation is going to really, really impact our local unions, and we have to have a plan to help them. Nobody's talking about that. We talk about loss of jobs, and that is right because again, what happens to the pensions, right? Companies are not going to pay money on robots. They're not going to pay money on robots. So we need to do what we can to empower the local unions so they can maintain their autonomy, their resources, and the IBT will be fine. But we got to look after our local unions because this is going to directly impact them negatively, and we got to do something about it.
Yeah, it's wait one sec, just quickly. So not only we've recognized the problem, the automation, you're offering a solution, right?
Right.
That's it.
And then
that's what you have to do.
And then on the other end, when you talk about the members themselves, when automation comes in, we have to make sure that they are ready to go into the workforce. And well, let me rephrase that. We have to make sure that when these companies automate, that they're just not kicked to the curb, right? We need to organize around issues that may impact them by replacing them with automation. What about clerical work or some type of data entry or working on the automation? You got to do something where our members can continue the work. Got to find something.
I know, Garfield.
Here's the thing: it's like, and I can't speak for like Teamsters and other crafts, but obviously, UPS makes a big chunk of the Teamsters. We have like 350,000 members that
somewhere around there,
just are in UPS for Teamsters out of their 1.2 or 3 million. So we make a pretty sizable chunk. So, I appreciate your. I appreciate your wanting to solve the automation problem, in a way of like helping us deal with it. But my biggest problem is like, why didn't we fight it to begin with? Why didn't we put protections in? Like, and obviously that's not on you. That's not something that I can do anything but you. Like, but the automation thing, people have been seeing that coming, not just this last contract, but the contract before that.
Yeah,
like we've been seeing that stuff. What was it? What was the tractor thing where they were? It was when you guys were in office, Jeff, when they were putting in the thing. I forget what it was called. They were trying to get it to where the tractors, were like following each other down the highway, like through.
Yep. Yeah.
And like there was a big safety thing because like the tractors had to be within like 30 feet of each other in order to follow you down the highway. Doing 70 miles an hour down the highway, you've got 5 and 6 tractors with trailers pulling behind them, 30 feet away from each other. And like the automation was like communicating between them. I forget what it was called. There was a huge rigmarole about all that. So like we've known this was coming for a long time.
Yeah.
Like
the VAs went down to Austin to fight it too.
Yeah. So I don't understand.
Yep.
Like we've been able to see the writing on the walls. That's part of the reason why we should have the IBT is because they should be able to see this stuff coming. They should be able to prepare for it. And the fact of the matter is, our current leadership didn't. No. Whether that's through apathy or incompetence, they chose not to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
so
and one more thing I wanted to broach with you while you're here. There's been a lot of talk about the drive campaigns. I've had a lot of people come to me with the news that the IBT is starting to use the drive to donate to Republicans, and whether you're right or left is one thing or another. We can have that debate. I don't really think this is the place for it, but my concern would be that the drive funding going to pro-union politicians. And like whether that's Democrats or Republicans, I want to I want to be able to see that, we've had some, how should I put this? We've had some, a politician has had some history of pro-union legislation. And I'm not talking about, they signed a bill that they knew wasn't going to pass. Like our beloved labor secretary now. But real hard fought legislation that they tried to put forth into Congress that says, hey, no, this is protecting workers' rights. This is protecting collective bargaining. If you would like to donate, use my hard-earned money to donate to a Republican, I want on a record that Republican coming out against right-to-work legislation.
Yeah. Yep.
I need to know that that's where that's going for. If you can show me a Republican that has given you right-to-work legislation and done all that, I won't have a problem with you donating to them. But this is where we get, because we're so divided in this country to where it says, you see the Democrat or the Republican, and whichever one you are, you just automatically hate the other, which I think is ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah.
But I think what I would like to talk about, with a potential new leader of the IBT, is the possibility of not only the Teamsters, but we make up around 1 or 2% of the population, of the working population of the United States. But that's not nothing. And what I would love to see is us supporting candidates that, that aren't necessarily Republican or Democrat. I would love for us to see and this may be just radical for anybody listening, but, we have a two-party system and it sucks. And I think that you can have criticisms of Republicans and Democrats and both be valid. But what I want is, if we are a Teamsters organization, we are a union organization, that we're supporting labor-positive candidates.
Yep.
And I don't think that those necessarily have to be Democrat or Republicans. Why aren't we supporting, if all of the unions got together and devoted their political action funds to labor parties, we could get people in pro-union states elected to state level positions.
Yep.
We could get them level to national level positions in the House and the Senate, and maybe in 20 or 30 years, we have a labor president. But labor makes up the vast majority of this country.
Yes.
The vast majority of the working people in this country are blue collar workers.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we need support. We need that middle class support. And we're not getting it from either side right now. And I would love to see our Drive campaign funds go towards candidates that really have, that really have our best interests at heart. If not, maybe even have labor backgrounds, so that they can bring to, state and national politics experience of having to, work with your hands and, deal with labor, deal with companies, deal with $1 billion companies that, want to treat you like a number. That's what I would like to see from our Drive fundings moving forward. If should you win this, I would love to hear your thoughts on that type of donation strategy.
I like it. 'Cause we're actually here in Philly. Myself, the president of United here in Philly, we're actually putting this group together where we're doing just that. We're uniting all of our members, no matter if you're a Teamster, United Here service worker, District Council 47, all of these folks here in the city. We're actually working on something, that program, what you just mentioned, where we all talking together about, picking the right candidates for all of us, not just a certain sector, private or public, or the Teamsters or this, that. No, I think what we have been shown is that, labor is so divided, and the billionaires and the employers They are not divided at all. They
No.
know exactly what they want. They know exactly who they want to do it to. And no matter if you work at UPS, Walmart, Home Depot, Best Buy, all of those companies have the same agenda. It's only
Yep.
when you get to the working class where our agendas are not lined up, right? And that has to change. And so what we're doing here in Philly is we're working toward what you're just talking about, Garfield. So I'm with you 1,000%.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a lot
Yep.
of talk about it online and the other things, and I would just love to see like we can take the T and
Yeah,
the R out of it and just be like, hey, show
that
us the
that's the
label.
only way we're going to win, man.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And it's I know people are frustrated, right?
Yeah,
Everyone's frustrated, but it's got to start somewhere. We have to start taking control of our future, right? We have to
yeah,
start doing things like this, organizing the unions with other unions and trying to get, candidates in there for, public figures and just, have the pro-union agenda, right? Because we don't have any control right now. It's scary, right? It's
Yeah.
very scary. So we're trying to put ourselves in a better position, and everyone needs to get on board with that. Get on board with, hey, we're trying to make our unions better because we're trying to make our lives better, better for our families, better for every aspect of our life. And I don't know how you could fight against that, right? How do you fight against that?
yeah,
I mean, you're in a union, you're pro union, okay? So it's, everything's important, every step is important, and I'm glad that the steps are starting to be taken. And I have to say on the side, I mean, running with Richard, I'm proud. It's an honor to run with Richard because he's different. He wants he wants what's best for the members. He's not in there for a position, for anything else, for a power grab. He wants change. That's just by talking about the solutions for automation. He wants to make it better for the members. He wants to put more, give more power to the locals. I mean, he's saying
yeah.
it. There's nothing else. And for that, I thank you, Richard. And
No problem, no
but
problem. Listen, this is going to be a very good thing. I think that I really believe that the members want something different and they want something better. I was thinking about this meeting I had with one of your members down in Dallas, where the guy he came up to me, man, put his hand on my shoulder, and he was yelling and screaming, saying that you better not be lying. We hear the same things over and over again. We heard it from the guy in there now. It's always the same old, same old, same old, same old rhetoric. Hey, vote for me, and I'm going to do this. And that stuck out to me because number one, I know he's paying dues because he wants to, because he's in the right to work state. And that really stuck out to me. And the fact that he's tired of hearing the same old thing. And I think a lot of our members have checked out because they're tired of hearing the same old, same old.
And that's what they want.
That's why right. They want that. The people in power now want folks to check out, because when folks become engaged and our members know what's going on, there's a higher level of accountability that they don't want. They don't want that. They want to skate through and keep getting elected, keep taking our members' money, keep doing whatever they're doing. But it has to stop. It has to. And when we talk to our members, everywhere we've been, it's always been the same thing. I'm tired of hearing the same rhetoric. We want something different. And you have our support. And we appreciate that, because it's only growing, because this is a genuine campaign that's based on membership rank and file principles. The members have the power. I don't have it. O'Brien doesn't have it. There's nothing that we can do without the Jeffs, the Garfields, the members at 767, the members at 623. You name the local. We don't do anything, or can't do anything, without the members' participation. And that's the thing that we have to start focusing on. Members, it's all about you. You have the power, not us. Never will. It's all about the members. It has to be. Because if not, we're going to lose, and we're going to
Yep.
continue to lose. And we
Yep.
can't,
Yeah.
we shouldn't be losing. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it. We shouldn't be losing when the current general president is making almost $500,000 in compensation. And the reason why I'm saying that is because my job has been automated and you making $500,000. I'm not gonna have a job, but you will. I'm not mad about anybody making any money. But when the members don't have power, this is what happens. This is what happens.
No, and you said something that was important. Principles, right? And I think we've always said it on the show. I mean, it goes in life. You have to have a core set of principles, because if you don't,
Yeah.
then that's a problem. That's an absolute problem. But so uh, one last thing. You have any final words? Anything you want to say?
I would just say again, thank you to Garfield and Jeff for having me on the show. The show you guys did last week, man, it struck a nerve in me because I understand what Mike is going through, and I
Yeah.
know that other folks are going through the same similar situations at that panel and other panels across this country. And that's something that we have to fix is that grievance procedure. And I'll just throw a little teaser out there before I stop. We already talked about Article 10, Section 3, and how we plan on mitigating some of the resource and the financial loss from locals. But just like how the IBT hires organizers, all they do is organize. Just how they hire auditors, all they do is auditors. We need to hire folks whose only job is to attack the grievance procedure at UPS. That's their only job. It can't be another officer. It can't be another agent. It has to be something where that's their only job because it takes the politics out of it. And as an officer and Jeff as an agent, used to be an agent, you understand that if you have so many things going on at one time, you're not going to be effective at the job. The
Mhm.
grievance procedure at UPS is by far one of the most disastrous things in the history of UPS. It has to be fixed, and it has to be somebody whose only job is to fix the grievance procedure, and that's what we're talking about. We'll get more into that later on, but just to
Yep.
throw it out there so you can think about it. And
Yep.
again, thank you guys again. I know we went a little bit too long, but I thank you guys for having me on your show.
Yeah.
No,
Pleasure.
we're always happy to have you. Yeah, happy to have you. And just one last thing. October 11th from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. The Fearless Slate is having a town hall for a Zoom town hall for the whole country. You meet everyone on the slate so far, and you get to ask your questions. I mean, we're not
Yeah,
running away. We're running to it,
yeah,
and
yep.
we want people to ask their questions because they have a lot of questions. They're frustrated, and it's important that everyone gets on that. It's the link is on. We'll put that link on here, and again, it's October 11th, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. With QR code link, everything, and if you're a Teamster, get on that Zoom call if you can. So
If you're
I
listening if
I'm
you're
Rich.
listening on Spotify, you can go to the YouTube and I'll put it up on the screen at the end of the episode so people can pause it and
Yeah,
grab the QR code if you need.
absolutely. So great having you here, Richard. Always, and important things to say, and we appreciate that, myself and Garfield. So, again, for myself, Garfield, and Richard Hooker, everyone have a good day.
We all deal with national language, but on this podcast, when it comes to supplemental language, we deal mostly with the southern region. And as always, it's best to get advice from your local stewards or business agents. If you would like to reach out to us with any questions, we have an email address, 767realitycheck@gmail.com. That's 767realitycheck@gmail.com.
And remember, strong people stand up for themselves, but the strongest people stand up for others.